Alright everyone, on today's video we are going to be taking a look at 10 things Planet Zoo can still improve upon, or add upon. Now before we actually begin, let me just quickly note something. This video is my opinion, and you can totally let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. And also please note that everything we'll be taking a look at in today's video is in order from least important to most important for me. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and begin this video. At number 10, we have staff vehicles. Now, right off the bat, we all know that this is a pretty far-fetched thing to ask for. It's pretty unnecessary, but I think pretty epic too, so I wanted to mention it. Ultimately, staff vehicles would be great visually, just seeing our staff be able to ride around in, say, golf carts around our zoo, delivering animals, completing tasks, whatever you need them to do. It fits real-life zoos, but is something that we really don't need. But come on, I think we all know we'd love to see our staff riding on a golf cart, going down a hill, crashing, and rolling into the polar bear habitat. Something like that would be an epic thing to see in the game, but again, pretty far-fetched. I just wanted to mention this. Number 9 is animal and guest interaction. Now, I personally find it pretty fun when you get to actually interact with an animal, whether that be exotic or not. You know, I find it really awesome when you get to sit down and pet a cat, and that cat bites the shit out of your hand. Or you go into a zoo, walk around a kangaroo walkabout, and get nailed in the groin by one. Something awesome like that would be really funny to see in the game, or just simply watching our guest walk into a walkabout exhibit and, I don't know, maybe touch the feathers of a peafowl's tail, maybe try and pet the back of a lemur, something unique and interesting that'll make it feel more zoo-like, because while technically you're not supposed to pet animals at zoos, technically there's nothing stopping you if you go into a walkabout animal habitat. Regardless, it doesn't have to be anything too complex, but just seeing a bit of a more unique interaction between our guests and our animals would help a lot. Not just that, but also watching our staff too. You know, wouldn't it be amazing to watch our staff walk into an animal habitat and accidentally step in a new pile of animal poop? That would be hilarious and would go the extra mile in making the game feel a bit more real. Now again, it's pretty far-fetched, and just like the staff vehicle is at the bottom of the list because it's just not needed, but it would be amazing. Okay, so at number 8 we have custom pieces. Now custom pieces can refer to both exterior and interior pieces that we can use. Now when I think of this, I usually think of chairs, couches, tables, backstage supply, all that good stuff. All that stuff the community would love, because recently the community, including myself, have really been getting into building detailed interiors and exteriors. And now just like Planet Coaster, I kind of expect us to eventually get these custom pieces because, well, I think it's just something that people want, and again, Planet Coaster got it eventually, so why wouldn't Planet Zoo? Overall though, it's something that would really help the game, it'll keep people from having to spend so much time on the interiors. Sure, they're fun, and sure, you can always still, you know, create your own custom chairs and stuff, but just to have that ability to place down actual chairs for those people who can't build custom chairs as easily would be great for them, because, you know, then everyone can kind of participate in building their own interiors. At number 7 we have NULL pathing. Now I don't know about you, but I find pathing real pain in the game sometimes. It can work out pretty well, and then other times it can just be an utter challenge. So if we had the ability to use invisible pathing, can you just imagine the possibilities, what we can do with that? We can have floating buildings, we could have glass floors, there's a lot we can do. And it'll make it easier, especially if you're working with your own custom pathing that you've made. There's a lot of possibilities with NULL pathing, and it really just comes down to whether or not they want to do it, because I don't think it would be too hard to. You know, and just like with NULL barriers, if you want to find that pathing, all you have to do is go into construction mode and it'll be visible. Just like at number 7, for number 6 we have NULL tracks. Now the Planet Zoo rides altogether aren't perfect, but of course I'm specifically talking about the tracks here, and this applies to the safari truck and the boat ride, because both of their tracks stick out really bad. And the only way to fix this for, well, at least the safari truck, is to actually bury it in the ground, and it looks really stupid. So altogether, if we had the ability to turn the tracks on at least just the boat and the safari ride invisible, well then, that fixes everything. I don't know if they would do that with the monorail and the gondola. I mean, it would look kind of stupid like that. Obviously they wouldn't, and I don't know if, again, this one's definitely more far-fetched, but it would help a lot. Just to have the ability to get rid of these ugly tracks, it would really help. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I bring this up is because in the very original teaser trailer of the game, you can actually see someone, a keeper, doing a show on the elephants in that original trailer. That is the kind of stuff I expected to see in the game, and we just didn't get that. So it makes me wonder why, and why not, right? I mean, I think having animal shows, or even just the keepers walking around with animals to show off, I mean, yeah, maybe that's a bit too much, but even if it's just the keepers right in front of an exhibit and in Planko language talking about an animal, and our guests will be there to listen to it, something like that would just go the extra mile to make it feel like a real zoo, because that's the kind of stuff you see at actual zoos, and I really wonder why we don't have that. And I really hope that one day we will. Honestly, the truth is they probably won't, but I don't think it's impossible. I mean, it looks to be something they were interested in. Would be amazing if we could build our own animal stadiums and have like bird shows and stuff. Really exciting things like that would go a whole long way with the game. At number 4, we have custom signs. Now this is something that people have been doing a lot of ever since Planet Zoo launched, building their own custom signs, and so many of them are amazing. I've had a lot of fun doing them myself, but it really feels like, especially in a game like this, a zoo simulation game, we should already have custom signs to work with, signs that we can upload pictures to just like we could with Planet Coaster. Things like that would, again, go a long way, because again, it's a zoo. Zoos have signs everywhere. We should have signs, and then from there, if we want to build our own custom ones, it's totally fine. I can't believe the game doesn't have these kind of things. There are key, small, essential zoo things like this that the game is lacking, and it's only a matter of time, I feel like. I have a good feeling that one day they're gonna try and add in more custom things like furniture, like signs, stuff like this just adds so much. Nearing the end, at number 3, we have improved swimming animations. Now, technically in the game, animals do swim. The crocodiles, they stay at the top, the bears, they stay at the top, the cats do, and the hippos, well, they just walk under the water, and it actually looks really great with the hippos. And they do have a bit of buoyancy to them, so they do technically swim a little bit. But regardless, swimming as a whole is pretty lackluster in this game. If we could actually see our bears, our crocodiles, and some of our cats actually dive into the water and swim around like they would in a real zoo, that would again add so much. These are we're getting into the really essential things here that I'm really surprised the game doesn't have. Now they have every opportunity from now until the next wave of content to develop, even if it's just basic underwater swimming animations. Any sort of underwater swimming animation will go a long way with the animals, and this will apply to only a select few animals, but regardless, it will add a lot. At number 2, we have an update for the tank creatures. Now, I don't even need to explain why we need this. Everyone watching this video would like the tank creatures to be better. Come on, we all want them to be. They have the potential to be so much more. Now, I do kind of like what they have right now. I like the creatures themselves. I like the tanks for the most part, but you get tired of them very fast, and there's so much potential with that. For example, different sized tanks, or more customization, slightly more advanced animations. I'm not saying the creatures have to move around the tanks, that's just not possible. I'm cool with them being on looped animations, but I wish those looped animations were just a bit more, right? Seeing them actually walk around from one place to another, even if it's just back and forth, which is still a loop animation, it'll look more than what we already have. And then again, I think the biggest thing when it comes to improving tanks are the tanks themselves. Giving us multiple sized tanks, just like you'd see in a real zoo, will go a long way. If I was in charge of, let's just say I was working at Frontier and I was in charge of this project, improving tank creatures, how I would do it is I would give us 3 different size tanks, split up the tank creatures into each different size so they work with the size that they are, and then from there each tank has its own customization, own biome, and the creatures themselves will move around just enough in it to look decent, right? And then they'll still, you know, teleport to different parts of the tank when you go away, and you can keep some of the same stuff, but altogether it's possible to make tanks in the game a much better thing so that people will actually start using them more and less as decorations. Number 1 is of course aviaries. Now aviaries are something that at this point I'd say the entire community wants, including me. Birds in this game are pretty lackluster as a whole. Sure, we got the 4 that we've had for a long time now, well, except for the casual that was just recently, and while they all are great, so we know they can make good birds, we just absolutely have no flying birds, no aviaries, any of that stuff, and the game does really need it. Even if we don't ever get things like, let's say, marine creatures, or for some reason even prehistoric creatures, which is something that people still want, I don't get why, screw that. We do need aviaries. We really do, and at that point when we do, if we do, I feel like the game would become even more, like, really close to being a completed zoo simulation game. Because we have the habitats, we have the buildings, we have the guests, we have the keepers, we have the animals, except we don't have the aviaries. We need to get them. Now at one point, like a year ago, I think Frontier said they were looking into it. Obviously that didn't mean anything for at that time or until now. We really don't know, but at least they've acknowledged that the game has a lack of free-flying birds, and I have my fingers crossed for one day that we will get them. And of course, it could be more limited than we want it to be, but if it is limited, I don't really care. Any sort of aviary mechanics, even if it is like let's just say it's an improved tank creatures mechanics, that's fine with me. Any sort of aviary mechanic I'll be happy with because the game just needs it, period. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below, how do you think they could do aviaries? Would you want it to be limited so we get it? Or do you want it to be really complicated, which means we could never get it if it's too much for them? Alright everyone, thank you all so much for watching this video, I really appreciate it. Please let me know what you thought about my list in the comments down below, and while you're at it, let me know what is your opinion on the game's current setting and what kind of things could we get to improve it. Let me know, give me your own list in the comments down below, and maybe I'll respond to it. But anyway though, thank you all so much for watching this video. Stay tuned as I have a new video soon, a new Zoo Day video. But until then, again, thank you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.